Hey guys, it's Nemo, and today we're going to be looking at another Mass Effect video, this time with battleships and using the alternate battle interface. Now, the alternate battle interface is really handy. If you have a look at this, so we go Escape, go to Settings, Controls, Alternative Interface Mode, Full. Now you can turn that on. I like to have that on, and okay, so you go apply and okay. Now the reason is we have a look at our targeting reticle. We have the distance. So 12.2 kilometers is my concealment. 4.10 kilometers is how far away my guns are firing. See how it's moving up? My guns are going up. And the time on the left hand side is the flight time of your shells. Now each little line on the indicators here is on the reticle here is seconds. Seconds for a ship sailing at 30 knots per hour. So any ship sailing faster than 30 knots, you obviously have to adjust. Now I can do 33 because I'm a fast battleship. We have a Montana and a Kurfürst and a Yamato against me, but two of them are going to be not sailing, which is the Kurfürst and Yamato. Now I've got the Kurfürst and Yamato here because they're special cases. All German battleships are pretty much special cases. And the Yamato has a special weak spot. I did point out in the last Mass Effect that the Kurfürst, not the Kurfürst, that the Yamato has a special weak point. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and line up and get rid of this Montana. Now I believe the Montana is a little bit faster than 30 knots, so we're going to have to adjust. So see, we've got 7.9 second flight time, so let's make that 8 second flight time for our adjustment at 13 kilometers. He's angled, so you can see I can get the angle of the ship on the reticle I'm using, so it's obviously not there because he's not angled that way, so it's in between these two. Okay, so let's see what I can do. Now I'm doing 33 knots, he's 11 kilometers away, so we want to get where we aim, so that 10 reticle you want to aim under that turret there. Under the second turret, so we're going to give him 11 kilometers. He's 5.5 seconds away, so usually it'll be around here, but remember we're aiming for the ship doing a bit faster than 30 knots, so put it in the air, and it should usually hit around the center. So you hit above that armor belt, the same one that I talked about in Mass Effect, the first video, just above the arm belt there. You'll do more penetrations that way. So we need to finish him off because I'll likely lose the game if he keeps sailing in my cap. So again, we're aiming at a ship that's doing 33 knots, so we're going to give him a couple more seconds of lead. 5.54, so we'll give him 6 seconds of lead. We want to aim, which is usually under there, but we saw him just go a bit faster, so aim up. And we're hoping to penetrate through the armor belt. Now you got to remember as well that American shells are flighty. If I was in a German battleship, which has got the better flight time, they go a lot faster, and they're a lot flatter. Their trajectory is flatter. So we give them a bit more. So 6 seconds, we want 7, probably 8 seconds on a battleship doing 33 knots. A bit of angle there, and let him have it. So see the American shells, they're very flighty, but they come down in the guts there, and that's where you want them to come down. The further he gets away, the shots aimed up a little bit will penetrate through the armored deck. So you can fire AP the whole time if you want. He is a little bit angled, so he's slowing down. We'll give him a little bit of elevation, and I'm going to slow down as well. I wouldn't recommend this in a real battle. Okay, so because he's at that slight angle, we want to elevate a bit, but now he's coming around, he's going to be full broadside to us. You can see this, the smokestacks there. If they're coming out like this, he's going full speed. He's probably doing about 3/4 speed into that turn right now. So we're going to just aim a little bit lower and give him a couple of seconds. So the 8 seconds in the guts there. So 8 seconds is back here. The long reticles are on this crosshair that I'm using. The long ones are your seconds, and the other little ones are your 0.5 seconds. Okay, so I'm in reverse and he's coming forward. So now you can keep firing armor piercing. It will work. You can always swap to high explosive. So 8 seconds, give him a better angle. So compensate for the angle there. And right in the middle. Okay, so right in the middle, it's nearly finished. And now he's going to turn broadside again. So use that seconds. So 8 seconds is at 6 seconds. So we could put that 6-second marker under the second turret there. 6.4, so we can go a little bit further, maybe 7 seconds there. Just keep an eye on that seconds. It's your flight time, remember. So there we go. He's angling out, but he's only at 260 health, and over penetration will finish him off. Okay, so that's basic aiming the ships on the move. I know he wasn't firing at you, and he wasn't going bow on. But if he does go bow on, don't worry about what other players say to you. If you want to fire a shot of high explosive and force him back out, go for it. Just put one right into the superstructure, set him on fire, or you can just fire AP straight to the superstructure. Okay, so now we've got our 2 stationary ships, and these 2 ships are stationary for the reason that I want to show you where you need to aim to really do damage to these ships. Now the Yamato is a special case, and the Kurfürst is for German battleships altogether because they have the turtleback armor. I believe the French ships might also have turtleback armor. So we do the same with the Republic. When you're aiming at a lot of battleships, you can aim at the waterline and be comfortable that you will penetrate the armor belt. But most armor belts are around, in the high tiers, are about 380 millimeters. So what you would do with a US battleship, for example, is you would divide 380. You divide the caliber of the shells. So 16 inches, what's... I think is that 380 whatever it is. If it's if say you go 380 millimeters, I don't think 16 is 380 millimeters. But you say 380 millimeters, you divide that by 6 for a US ship, and you can penetrate 63 millimeters of armor. Okay, so I'm just going to turn the secondaries off for this. Now, when aiming at a Kurfürst, again, we want to hit above the armoured belt. That's the armoured belt down there. But you want to hit just above the armoured belt, because the Kurfürst, if you can citadel the Kurfürst, good luck to you, right? I'll try and do it in a minute. So we aim above. He's only 2.4 seconds away. We want to hit that just under that mantlet. So you let it go, you fire. It's not good for proving how to fire on moving ships. That's what the last shot was about. The last ship, sorry. Now if I can citadel the Kurfürst, we'll do a test and see if we can. But I don't think you can. It's almost impossible. So we hit the waterline just under mantlet here. versions everywhere, but no, see, no citadel there. So make sure you aim just above. Same with your cruisers. In the Mass Effect where I talked about the cruisers firing armor piercing, you aim just above that armored belt. He's probably going to be angled to me at the moment. But just above the belt, through the deck plating, and you can get pretty good numbers. That's the only real way, other than burning down the Kurfürst, that you're going to beat the Kurfürst. So the Yamato is a special case, and I talked about this in my last Mass Effect video. Under the second turret, there is a special spot where the armor is angled in a weird way that you can citadel relatively easily. Like that. Straight underneath the turret. So when the Yamato is moving and you aim under there, you'll usually get citadels 90% of the time. So we're going to try and fire it angled as well. See if we can hit that spot angled. So I'm just going to give a little bit of a... See, the angle's pretty good.
Confirmed penetration.
So the Yamato would have to get that angling right, otherwise it's going to get hit pretty hard. So I'm just going to slow down. I'm going to check the forward guns. I'm going to see how well this angle does. My back gun has got that lined up. You can see the armored belt there protruding from the ship. Okay, that was my back gun that got the citadel, not the front. Because angling, if you angle properly, you can bounce pretty much anything. So we'll fire one more, and I'm going to fire at the armored belt. So I'm going to angle the ship away so the back turret doesn't fire. Because it was the back turret that just got that angled shot. So we want to try and negate that. But firing at the armored belt usually will cause bounces. It won't work very well. And the reason that's why it's armored the way it is, so that you can't penetrate it. It's almost bow on, isn't it? Let's have a look. Nope, see, look at that. Hit the armored belt and they all bounced. So, just a quick recap. Aiming, turn the alternative interface, battle interface on, so that you get the seconds of flight time. Remember, it's every tick on there, or every second tick on this one is 1 second of flight time for a ship going at 30 knots. Bounces there, bounce off the armor. Under the mantlet,
We've destroyed an enemy battleship.
French battleships and French cruisers under the mantlet will, that's where their citadel is as well, under that front turret. So the mantlet is the round old piece of sticking out of the ship there, that's holding the turret on top. So, armor belt, if you can hit the armor belt from a long distance, you will usually get citadels. So, you know, when you're at 17 kilometers, things like that, you get citadels from there. And then the alternative interface will give you the flight time, 30-second ship, and then if you use the one that I use, this reticle, it's number 8 dynamic, I think. It gives you the angles for firing as well, so you can see that I'm angled to him, this Kurfürst. So what I have to do to get my shots to land where I want them to aim is aim up a little bit, because my horizontal aiming line isn't right on his hull. So I've got to come up a little bit. So these are just some little tips. Hopefully they help. As I said, with German battleships, all German battleships and French, because of the turtleback armor, aim for that bit above the armored belt, that little bit just above there, just above the armored belt and below the deck. Don't forget the Yamato's special spot under the second mantlet, and everything else, make sure you give it good lead and good angle, and if all else fails, don't be afraid to fire one shot at least of high explosive into the superstructure to cause panic. When an enemy ship starts to burn, most players panic. They'll get one fire on the superstructure and they will put it out, and that's the end of them, because if another shot hits them, they're going to burn to death, or at least they're going to burn a lot of health away, and in the meantime they're getting pumped by armor piercing and other high explosive. All battleships should be looking to fire armor piercing as your main munition, except for British battleships. Now they have 1/4 penetration, so they do their shell caliber divided by 4, not divided by 6, and that gives them the penetration on their high explosive, and so they can absolutely wreck enemy ships because of that 1/4 penetration. And then you use armor piercing with your British battleship. If something turns directly broadside, then you can absolutely wreck them. But remember, you've only got the short fuse armor piercing, so it doesn't go into the ship as far and do as much damage, whereas American armor piercing, for example, and Japanese, German armor piercing will go through because it's heavier, especially Yamato, where it's got the 18-inch shells. They're heavy shells as well, and they do more damage. They pierce through, and the timer on their fuse is a little bit longer. So anyway guys, I hope this helps. I'm not sure if it does. If it does, I'm glad it does. If you want any other videos of where to or how to, whatever you want, let me know, and I'm happy to make those for people, and especially if they're going to watch them and learn stuff. So it's good for me too, because it helps me to stay fresh with everything. So anyway guys, thanks for joining me. I'll catch you next time.